I'm writing this like a note to my future self, so I never forget the moment my mom decided my life wasn't worth bragging about. Have you ever sacrificed what you wanted for your family, only to become the person they're most ashamed of? While my brothers and sisters chased degrees and shiny careers, I stayed in Riverton. I clocked in at the plant so we could keep the mortgage paid after my dad died. It wasn't glamorous. It wasn't impressive, but it was real work. I came home smelling like freezer burn and spices, shoulders aching from lifting boxes. At least the bills didn't bounce. To my mom, though, my steel toe boots and hairnet meant one thing: failure. I still hear her voice from that family barbecue a couple of years ago. Relatives were asking what I was doing with my life. She laughed, actually laughed, and said, "Sarah's taking some time to figure herself out. She's just helping out at a local place for now." She couldn't even say the word factory. When I tried to explain that I was working overtime to keep us afloat, she pulled me aside and hissed, "Why can't you be more like your siblings? This job is embarrassing." I swallowed it. The humiliation, the anger, the way everyone's eyes slid past me like I was background noise. I told myself it was just a phase. That if I kept my head down and worked hard enough, one day she'd see me differently. I had no idea Mother's Day was coming, and with it, a text message that would finally break something in me, and change everything. Before I tell you exactly what my mom wrote in that Mother's Day message, and what I did afterward that made me disappear from their lives, tell me, what time is it where you are right now? And where are you watching from? I'm honestly curious how far this story will travel. Mother's Day in Riverton always smells like cut grass and cheap supermarket flowers. At the factory, it smells like garlic powder and cold metal. I was on my break, sitting on an overturned crate behind the loading dock, scrolling through my phone with numb fingers. I told myself I didn't care if I heard from my family that day. I lied. My screen lit up with a notification: Family Haze Group Chat. My chest tightened for half a second. I imagined my mom sending, "Love you all, even you, Sarah." Instead, I opened the chat and saw a long, carefully worded message. Mother's Day dinner. Successful kids only. Mark, Drive. Hayes, Saving Lives. Emma, our creative director, making the world beautiful. Lily, our future lawyer. I'm so proud of my accomplished children. Dinner at 6:30. Can't wait to celebrate you. She tagged Mark, Emma, and Lily. My name wasn't there. Not in the message. Not even in a pity heart at the end. Just 3 names. 3 golden children. Then the reactions started popping up. Mark sent a flexed bicep emoji. Emma added sparkles and hearts. Lily sent a crying laughing face and, "Can't wait, Mom." I stared at the screen, refreshing it. Waiting for my mom to follow up with, "Oh, and Sarah, too." Waiting for any of my siblings to type, "What about Sarah?" The typing bubble never came. The only bubble I saw was my own reflection in the black part of the screen. Hair tucked under a factory cap. Hands rough from freezer burn. Eyes burning. This wasn't an oversight. It was a public announcement. Successful kids only. The words blurred as tears pooled in my eyes, but I kept reading them again and again. Each time felt like a punch to the ribs. My throat tightened with that same hot, humiliating sting I'd felt at the barbecue when she dodged the word factory. Except this time, she didn't dodge anything. She erased me. A moment later, my phone buzzed again. A separate notification from Mom. A video call. I watched it ring, her smiling contact photo floating at the top of my screen like a mask. I knew exactly what it would be, her trying to spin the message, telling me I was overreacting if I dared to feel hurt. I let it ring, and finally time out. She texted right after. "Hope you understand. Tonight is just about celebrating achievements. You know you're always part of the family. Always part of the family. Just not proud enough to be seen." Have you ever watched your own mother type a sentence that proves you're just a footnote in her life story? I didn't answer. Not the text. Not the call. I just stared at the thread until my break ended, then slid my phone into my pocket like I was burying something. I went back to the production line. My hands moved on autopilot. But inside my head, something shattered, and something colder clicked into place. They had made it clear where I stood. It was time I made a decision of my own. The day after Mother's Day, my alarm went off at 4:30 a.m. like always. But for the first time, I didn't wake up wondering how to make my mom proud. I woke up wondering why I'd given her that power for so long. That evening, after my shift, I sat at the small kitchen table in my studio apartment with a notebook and a pen. At the top of the page, I drew 2 columns. Stay connected on the left. Cut ties on the right. It felt dramatic, but I needed to see it in ink. Under stay connected, I wrote, holidays with family. Maybe one day she'll accept me. Not being the bad daughter. Under cut ties, I wrote, no more humiliation. No more waiting for invitations that never come. Space to build a life on my terms. Peace. The right side filled up faster than the left. Still, my hand hovered. Who cuts off their own mom over a text? That voice in my head sounded a lot like hers. Right on cue, my phone buzzed again. The family chat flooded with photos from the Mother's Day dinner. My mom smiling between Mark in his white coat and Emma in a sleek blazer. Lily in a floral dress holding a bouquet. Captions like, Mom deserves the best. Proud of this family. Under one picture, my mom commented, my 3 shining stars. Again, not even a mention of the 4th. Separate from the group, Mark texted me. Hey, heard you were busy yesterday. Mom was a little hurt. You know she didn't mean it that way. Don't make everything so dramatic. Emma followed up. Next year, just show up more with your career stuff and she'll include you. You know how she is. No one said the message was wrong. Apparently, the problem was me. I looked at their texts. Then at my pro and con list. And I felt something inside me harden. They weren't asking if I was okay. They were asking me to swallow it, again, so the family image stayed smooth. I opened the group chat, scrolled up to, successful kids only, took a screenshot, and saved it in a locked album. Not to obsess, just to remember. A receipt of the moment my place in the family became optional. Then, with shaking fingers, I muted the group chat for a year. After that, I opened Mom's contact. Held my thumb on her name. Hit block. The system asked, are you sure? For once, I was. I blocked Mark and Emma too. I hesitated on Lily, my baby sister who had grown up watching this dynamic like it was normal, but I left her unblocked. That night, my coworker and friend, Mia Brooks, came over with takeout. She saw my red eyes, the open notebook, the locked screen. What happened? She asked. I slid the notebook toward her. She read both columns and looked up. You already know your answer, Sarah. You wrote it. My voice barely worked. Would you cut off your own family if they never saw your worth? If they literally wrote you out like a typo? She didn't hesitate. I'd cut off anyone who made me feel smaller on purpose. Blood, or not. Something settled in me. At the bottom of the right column, I wrote in all caps, I choose me. The next morning, I woke up with puffy eyes, but a strange lightness in my chest. For the first time, family wasn't automatic. It was a choice. And I had finally made one. Once the noise of the group chat disappeared, my life grew quieter. Not empty, just quieter. No more alerts for celebrations I wasn't invited to. No more subtle jabs wrapped in, just joking. In that silence, I heard something I hadn't heard in years. My own thoughts. I doubled down at the factory, not to prove anything to my mom, but to prove something to myself. When my manager, Rachel Turner, mentioned the company would reimburse part of tuition for technical courses, I didn't brush it off like usual. I signed up for night classes at Riverton Technical College, industrial safety, process improvement, basic engineering concepts. If I was, just, a factory worker, I was going to be the kind who knew every inch of the line. Mia joined me for one class, and we became those annoying front row people who asked too many questions and shared notes. We grabbed vending machine coffee and laughed about being too tired to be this ambitious. But inside, something new was growing. A quiet pride that had nothing to do with a framed degree, and everything to do with choosing my own path. One Tuesday evening, rushing into the building with a stack of worksheets in my arms, I heard a small, hesitant voice behind me. Sarah. I froze. Lily stood by the bulletin board, clutching a backpack, hair in a messy bun, wearing a college hoodie. For a second, it felt like being punched and hugged at the same time. I didn't know you were taking classes here, she said. I didn't know you were either, I replied. Silence stretched between us. Then she blurted, Mom doesn't know I signed up for this program. She thinks I'm sticking strictly to law school stuff. But I wanted to see what else is out there. There it was. A crack in the perfect image. We sat on a bench, knees almost touching. I saw the Mother's Day message, she said quietly. I wanted to say something, but Mark told me not to stir things up. I'm sorry, Sarah. Her apology hit harder than my mom's text. It wasn't your job to fix it, I said, even though part of me wished she had tried. She twisted her bag strap. Mom's been weird since then. She keeps bringing you up. Not in a good way. She says you're overreacting. But, I think she's embarrassed. So she's embarrassed that I'm embarrassed, I muttered. That tracks, I added with a hollow laugh. Lily smiled sadly. She cares in her own messed up way. She just can't handle that you chose something she doesn't respect. And now people at church keep asking why you're never around. She hates not having an answer that makes her look good. There it was. Consequences. My quiet disappearance was cracking her carefully curated story. I miss you, Lily said softly. But I kind of get why you did what you did. You don't have to repeat her cycle, I told her. You can choose what you want. Even if it's not shiny enough for the group chat. She nodded. Are you ever coming back to family stuff? The question hung heavy. When success started finding me, I said carefully, the first thing I felt wasn't, I can't wait to show mom. It was relief that I don't owe her anything anymore. So, I don't know. Right now, I need distance more than I need a seat at that table. We parted quietly. As I walked into class, I realized something. Her successful kids only dinner had cost her more than one child's attendance. It was chipping away at the loyalty of the others. When success finally finds you on your own terms, do you go back to the people who called your path worthless? Or do you keep walking? My promotion came on a random Thursday. Rachel closed her office door and said, Sarah, you've been running circles around half the people here. I want you as line supervisor on the new frozen meals project. More pay, more responsibility. You in. A year ago, I would have thought, Mom is going to have to brag about this. This time, I thought, I did this. Me. The role was intense, scheduling shifts, handling breakdowns, smoothing conflicts, but it gave me something I'd never really had before. Authority. People trusted me, not because of a fancy degree, because I'd been in the trenches with them. Still, late at night, old doubts crept in. I'd unlock my phone and hover over my mom's blocked contact. Scroll past posts about, so proud of my kids, with 3 smiling faces, and an invisible 4th. One weekend, spiraling through social media, I opened my notes app and started typing. At first it was a rant about blue-collar work and how people like my mom treated it like failure. But the more I wrote, the clearer it became. It was about dignity, about class, about how families weaponize success. On impulse, I posted it anonymously on a blog platform Mia had mentioned. I titled it, Successful Kids Only, When Your Family Invites Everyone But You. I described the group chat. The exact line, the feeling of watching your name disappear from your own mother's sentence. In the middle, I wrote, does your self-worth depend on the people who refuse to see it, or can you learn to build it anyway? I expected maybe 3 readers. Within a week, it had thousands of views. Comments poured in. I thought I was the only one. My mom did this when I became a mechanic. Cutting contact saved my life. The validation from strangers healed something my mom's silence never could. Then one of my mom's church friends shared the article publicly with the caption, this broke my heart. Parents, don't do this to your kids. The story was moving in the same circles my mom lived in. A few days later, an unknown number called. I let it go to voicemail. Sarah, it's Mom, her voice said, strained and tight. I heard this story going around online. People keep sending it to me saying it sounds familiar. I hope you're not involved in anything that makes our family look bad. We need to talk. Not, are you okay? Not, did I hurt you? Just fear of how she looked. I didn't call back. At work, Rachel pulled me aside. Random question, she said. I read this post about someone excluded from a Mother's Day dinner. The author sounded a lot like you. I felt my cheeks heat. Maybe. She smiled. If it was you, it was powerful. Anyone who can lead on the line and write like that. You're going places, Hayes. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. That night, I printed my blog post and my old pro and con list. I put them in a folder labeled, Proof I'm Not Crazy. When doubt crept in, I opened it. Then came the storytelling event. The theme was, When Family Crosses the Line. Mia insisted I sign up. The night of the event, my hands shook so badly I almost dropped the mic. The room was full, hoodies, business casual, tear-streaked faces. I started with one line. My mom called me embarrassing because I chose factory work. A murmur rolled through the room. I told them about the barbecue. The dodged explanations. The Mother's Day text. I recited, Successful Kids Only, and watched people flinch. Halfway through, I asked, have you ever realized you're only loved on your family's terms? That their love disappears the moment you stop making them look good. Dozens of heads nodded. I ended with this. I used to think family was a debt I owed. That if they gave me life, I had to give them my silence. Now I know I can love where I come from, and still walk away from the parts that are killing me. When I stepped off stage, people hugged me, thanked me, shared their own screenshots of painful texts. On the bus home, my phone buzzed nonstop. A large page with hundreds of thousands of followers had shared my blog, captioned, "The successful kids only, mom is why so many of us are in therapy." Buried in the comments, I saw a familiar name. Lily Hayes. She had written, "Sometimes the successful kids are just the ones who learned how to perform. The others are just trying to survive." I stared at her comment, feeling proud and protective. Later that week, Lily texted me. "Mom saw your talk. She's not handling it well. People at church are talking. She says you're airing family business." Maybe I was. But honestly, maybe someone needed to.